1. Moose takeover, Goodman Mountain Trail closed for safety. 2. DC closes trail for moose monitoring in Tupper Lake Forest. 3. Moose behavior forces trail closure in Adirondack Mountains. 1. Moose takeover, Goodman Mountain Trail closed for safety. Imagine setting out for a peaceful hike, only to find your trail blocked, not by a fallen tree or rock slide, but by a massive, unpredictable wild animal. That's exactly what's happening on Goodman Mountain in New York's Adirondacks, where a bull moose has taken up residence and refuses to budge. This unexpected turn of events has led to the continued closure of one of the region's most beloved trails, leaving hikers frustrated but also intrigued by the rare wildlife encounter. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this closure truly necessary, or are we overreacting to nature doing what it does best? The trouble began in early June when hikers started reporting sightings of a lone bull moose near the base of Goodman Mountain, which is part of the popular Tupper Lake Triad Hiking Challenge. The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, DEC, quickly stepped in, shutting down access to the trail on June 6. At first, many thought the situation would resolve itself as the moose moved on to greener pastures. However, weeks turned into a month, and the moose showed no intention of leaving. In fact, it became clear that something unusual was going on with this particular animal. On July 10th, a team of DC experts visited the site to evaluate the situation. Among them was a state wildlife veterinarian who observed some concerning behaviors from the moose. According to the DEC, the animal displayed actions that suggest it might be dealing with an underlying illness. Despite its imposing size, bull moose can weigh anywhere from 600 to 1,200 pounds and stand up to 6 feet tall at the shoulder. This particular individual appears lethargic and unresponsive. Attempts to encourage it to move away from the trail have failed, raising concerns about both the health of the moose and the safety of hikers. Now, you might be wondering why this is such a big deal. After all, shouldn't people just give the moose space and let nature take its course? While that sounds reasonable in theory, reality paints a more complicated picture. Moose are generally docile creatures, but they're also incredibly powerful and can become aggressive if they feel threatened or startled. And though this specific moose hasn't shown any signs of aggression so far, the DEC warns that close encounters with these animals can still pose serious risks. For example, back in 2018, there were estimated to be around 650 moose living in New York State. Each one of those animals represents a potential hazard if humans get too close without understanding how to behave safely around them. So what happens next? The DEC has made it clear that the Goodman Mountain Trail will remain closed until officials are confident it's safe for hikers to return. Forest rangers are actively patrolling the area to enforce the closure, and signs have been posted at all trailheads to inform visitors of the situation. Hikers are encouraged to explore other nearby trails while they wait for updates. If you're planning a trip to the region, consider checking out alternative destinations like Mount Arab or Coney Mountain, both of which offer stunning views and rewarding hikes. This incident raises an interesting question worth pondering. How do we balance our desire to enjoy the outdoors with the need to protect the wildlife that makes these places special? Some might argue that closing the trail is an overreaction, while others see it as a responsible step to ensure the well-being of both humans and animals. What's your take? Do you think the DEC made the right call, or should they have handled things differently? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. For those seeking more information about the ongoing situation, the DEC Region 6 Office of Natural Resources is available to answer questions. You can reach them at 315-785-2263. Remember, whether you're an experienced hiker or a beginner, respecting wildlife and following guidelines set by authorities ensures everyone can enjoy the beauty of the Adirondacks safely. 2. DEC closes trail for moose monitoring in Tupper Lake Forest. Imagine being unable to explore your favorite hiking trail because a majestic bull moose has made it his temporary home. That's exactly the situation unfolding in Tupper Lake, New York. The Department of Environmental Conservation, DEC, has issued a reminder to all outdoor enthusiasts about the temporary closure of the Goodman Mountain Trail within the Horseshoe Lake Wild Forest. But here's where it gets intriguing. DEC officials have revealed that they are deploying trail cameras to closely monitor a bull moose that has been residing in the forest for quite some time. To ensure a thorough understanding of the moose's well-being, the DEC has installed not one, not two, but 3 trail cameras. During a recent site visit, DEC wildlife staff had a remarkable close encounter with the moose. They conducted a detailed visual assessment, meticulously observing the moose's condition and behavior. This is crucial because many diseases that moose are prone to cannot be detected through simple blood tests. And this is the part most people miss. The DEC emphasized that should there be any notable changes in the moose's behavior, or if the moose disappears from the trail cameras for an extended period, their wildlife staff will promptly return to the forest for a follow-up assessment. Interestingly, officials also noted that determining the age of the M.O.3 moose behavior forces trail closure in Adirondack Mountains. Imagine hiking through the breathtaking Adirondack Mountains only to find your trail abruptly shut down, not by weather or maintenance, but by a moose behaving in ways that have left wildlife experts perplexed. That's exactly what's happening on Goodman Mountain in New York, where a mysterious moose encounter has prompted a temporary closure, sparking both curiosity and concern among outdoor enthusiasts. On July 10th, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, DEC, dispatched a team, including a wildlife veterinarian, to investigate reports of a moose that refuses to leave the Goodman Mountain Trail in the Horseshoe Lake Wild Forest near Tupper Lake. Unlike typical moose, which shy away from human presence, this animal has lingered on or near the trail for an extended period, exhibiting unusual behaviors that officials cautiously describe as non-aggressive yet alarming enough to warrant action. While the DEC hasn't disclosed specifics about the moose's actions, suspicions point to a potential underlying illness affecting its behavior, given its indifference to relocation attempts. So what makes this moose so risky? Moose are large, powerful animals, explain DEC officials, and even without showing aggression, they can become dangerous if approached too closely. A startled or ill moose might charge, and given this animal's unpredictability, the DEC has prioritized both public safety and the moose's well-being by closing the trail. Forest rangers are enforcing the shutdown, and signage now directs visitors to alternative trails in the region. But here's where it gets controversial. Is temporarily shutting down public trails the right call for one potentially sick animal? On one hand, moose are iconic, protected species in the Adirondacks, and intervention could save its life. On the other, hikers might argue that the closure disrupts outdoor access without clear evidence of imminent danger. As one commenter might ask, should conservation always prioritize animal safety over human recreation, even when risks seem low? The DEC promises updates once the trail is safe to reopen, but until then, the moose remains the unlikely guardian of Goodman Mountain. Thought-provoking question for you. Do you think prioritizing the moose's safety in this scenario is justified? Or could alternative solutions have worked? Share your thoughts in the comments.